To Back to School Night. My name is Mr. Min Nguyen, not to be confused with Mr. D Nguyen, who teaches bio and physio, Miss Tan Lam Nguyen, who also teaches bio, or Miss Lin Nguyen, who teaches math as well. I teach math 1, 2, and 3, and my contact is nguyenmi@esuhsd.org. I definitely prefer email, but you could also contact me by loop mail. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a Pig Mountain Hills High School graduate. This is my 6th year teaching, my 4th year at Independence. And my basic philosophy for teaching is to first provide a safe, welcoming environment that encourages student success, to meet students where they are, because I recognize that students definitely come from a variety of backgrounds, so we kind of just got to figure out where students are and how that fits into the class. And then to push students to build on their previous understanding, so that they understand that math, whether it's math 1, 2, or 3, that it's all related, right? And we're always building on previous things. In math 1, which can be considered beginner's algebra and geometry, we study a lot about lines. That's basically the first semester. We learn how to graph lines, writing linear functions, solving linear equations. Think y equals mx plus b. Think inverse operations, right? Things like, if you do an operation on one side, you got to do it to the other side. And then in the second semester, we study geometry, which the basics is honestly just a ton of vocabulary. And then lines and angles, parallel and perpendicular lines, and then basic transformations of shapes. Think translations, moving shapes around, dilations, blowing them up or making them smaller. About class. So class sessions are always on Zoom. Tutorials are also always on Zoom by appointment. The time slots are Tuesday and Friday from 2:30 to 4, and then Wednesday from 1 to 4. I definitely encourage all students to come and attend tutorials, to just let me know, and I'm always happy to book an appointment with a student to explain or further expand on concepts that they might not have understood very well in class, or to just answer their questions on their homework. There's homework every day with the occasional exception for quiz days. So when we do quizzes, I don't assign homework, but pretty much every other day I do. Assignments are always on big ideas, and students have until the following midnight to complete their homework. The reason I do that is so that in that time frame before their homework is due, they can make an appointment to attend a tutorial if they need help for that assignment. Obviously, this year is different than any other year, so to share some of my adaptations for this year, my first thing that I'm trying to make a point of is having or making videos for the material. So I'll either make videos like this, or I lecture about the material, or if not, then I'll provide students with a link to the same material covered by someone else. Some other adaptations I'm figuring out are changing grading categories, extending time for homework assignments, as in making sure students have typically 15 minutes up to even half an hour of time in class to start and ask questions, as well as, like I said, making the assignments due the next day, midnight, so that there's this nice big 30 to 36 hour window for students to ask questions and get help as needed. Some advice or tips for students is even same as in person, to speak up and don't be afraid to ask for help, and that the sooner students attend tutoring, the sooner they can get individual attention. Now that we're more than one progress report or grading period into school, it's definitely still important for students to kind of recognize where they are in class and to get help if they need it. The grades. So you'll notice that I also just spoke about adapting the grading categories, but the current scale that I started school year out with is big ideas, which is just their homework, 10%, quizzes 20%, one-on-ones 20%, final 20%, and tests 30%. I'm working on revamping this grading scale because I'm realizing that some parts of it are unrealistic, and then the quizzes and tests together make up 50%. So I may change that standard, or I'm looking to change that standard. As for grades, students can view their grades, and you can view their grades by going onto Google Classroom. clicking classwork, and then view your work. Realization I had was that there's no time for one-on-ones to the depth that I would like, where I am able to meet with a student one-on-one and have them walk me through a couple problems that usually takes like 10 minutes. And when you scale that up to the number of students, it's just not realistic. On a weekly basis, I try to input either homework scores, quiz scores, and or warm-up grades. And again, to see that, you can just go to Google Classroom, classwork, and then view your work. Additional resources for class and school. So for class, I definitely recommend Khan Academy or Patrick JMT. He's just some guy who explains a ton. He has a ton of math materials. So if your student needs help with a material, they can Google search using the title of the section. So Khan Academy factoring trinomials, or Patrick JMT graphing y equals mx plus b. That's if I don't share my own videos, or if some students just don't like my videos, and an alternative resource is better than no resource. Next, for school, definitely encourage students to join a club. I think why would students join a club? I think a big draw for teens is to make friends or to be with friends. Also to develop their interests, right? So either further develop something they're already into, or just find out things that they could pick up or learn or be interested in. And then lastly, a very practical thing is for students to learn organizational skills, as in how to be a member of an organization, and then at some point maybe even learn leadership skills by becoming an officer, if that's what they want to pursue. So if you follow these links, tinyurl.com/IHSClubDay 1, 2, or 3, you'll see an overview of clubs that we have at this school. Again, I highly recommend students to join a club, for the reasons I listed. And to finish this off, just a reminder that we are all Sixers, and this is a big school. Definitely, there are thousands of students here, right? So at times, it may feel overwhelming, but if you pursue your interests, whether academic or extracurricular or both, then students can find something they can be a part of, right? There's just so many organizations. Our school offers so many classes, and there's definitely something for everyone here. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions or concerns, I encourage you to email me or loop mail me.